Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live Your Love. I'm Chera.
I am Jake the Nomad, whether you're a nomad, gypsy traveler, all of the like. We're going to be speaking to people who are living life from their heart and from love, however that is for them.
Live Your Love is an idea that's been taking shape for nearly a decade, one that I feel was divinely inspired by waking up one morning hearing that inner voice telling me, Live Your Love. Um, I've always been pulled to be a blessing to others somehow through my gifts, not just my spiritual gifts, but through my photography and art and my writing. It was really prompted by a conversation I had with my grandmother not too long before she passed away. She just didn't really know what her purpose was in life. And it really got me thinking she did have a purpose. She was really good. She loved people and would do anything for anyone. She was a nurse, but didn't get to follow through with that. And I think she just kind of felt stilted because she didn't know she had such a great devotion to God. And it really saddened me to see someone like her not know what her purpose was. So I kind of went on that journey of discovering what my purpose is. Do you have the same kind of feeling, Jake?
Oh, for sure. Coming from that place, being reminded that I guess it could be put that someday, whenever that is, when my days are done and I'm laying there on that bed, I'm not going to have any regrets. And a similar experience happened to me, which prompted my awakening about 8 years ago. In my line of work, I came across a renter, and the man happened to be deceased in his chair, and I had gotten to know him for 12 years. And I had this very profound moment where, even though his body was no longer alive, I had this big nudge that said, Jake, you're going to be like this someday. So get out there and start living. And that was kind of one of the prompts. I've had many in my lives, but that was
Yeah.
one of them. So I can really relate to this and to follow that feeling, follow the nudges, and to allow yourself to reclaim your life, find that liberation, because a lot of things in the world have a way to kind of push you down and maybe keep you in a certain a path or a certain line, whether it's a job, whether whatever it is,
Right.
you have that spark and let that start to lead your life again. And I believe that is a big concept here of what live your love is about.
Yeah. And so many people don't know what that is. I mean, I come across people all the time who just don't know what they want to do with their life. I mean, people our age, even people in their 60s, 70s, still don't know what their purpose is and wondering if they could have done something more. I mean, life doesn't start when you retire. Life should start now, no matter what age you are. So that's why we're here to encourage others to see that it's possible to live for you and follow that dream.
Yeah, ignite that, whether it's
Yeah.
singing, whether it's dancing, whether it's drawing, writing like we do, doing voice work, finding
Yeah.
those beautiful things, sports, running,
Yeah.
hiking, all of these things that bring out that amazing feeling inside.
Yeah. Even if it's just someone who goes out and has to surf the waves before they go to that day job, and that experience every morning that they do makes their day job more lovable, a thing that they can love to do. Yeah,
Right.
that
I
makes
think a
any
lot of
sense.
people nowadays,
Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of people nowadays, I think, kind of can understand that concept that many talk about it, escaping the matrix. It's
Yeah.
kind of just a proverbial way of breaking free from some of the things that maybe you're doing that aren't bringing you so much joy, and then transitioning from that into a life that brings that inner fulfillment.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what it's all about. I mean, if I didn't have such a strong belief in that message, live your love, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I wouldn't be doing the things that I'm doing today.
And we wouldn't have met either.
No, no. Jake and I met on Substack, and I'm happy and so honored to know that I was the first person he subscribed to on Substack. So, yeah, and we just kind of just chit chat back and forth, and there's just something that always resonated is like I'm going to be working with him someday, and here we are working
Yeah,
with
there's
you.
that unseen, the guidance,
Yeah,
and through through the written word, how powerful
Mhm.
that can be. There are so many different ways to approach writing and to express that. And that was one of the things, as you mentioned, I subscribed to you first,
Yeah.
and it was because of how you wrote. And it felt so familiar to me because I'm
Yeah.
very empathic and very connected to, the unseen nudges, the
Yeah.
synchronicities, the serendipities. And when I saw how you wrote, it was like, oh my God, that it sounds like me.
And I felt the same way about your writing, you
Yeah.
know?
It
Yeah.
was that kinship through the word. How cool
Yeah,
is that?
exactly. It's awesome. Yeah. The written word can bring people together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even getting
Uh,
into Substack itself for me was following a nudge to express in another way.
right.
I've been out there for a while doing many different things with, live videos. I
Mhm.
love speaking, and I'm not, I cleared the fear of being on a camera. I went through that. You mentioned too how there's stages to things.
Yeah.
And there was a point where, who am I? Who's going to listen to me? Look at me. That whole, many people can understand that. Look,
Right.
I don't want to look at myself. I don't want to hear myself. And there's kind of a level of self mastery to overcome that, whatever that is inside, that
Mhm.
you have that self consciousness and things like
Yeah.
that. But when you start to break through that, and then you can use that as a tool, is what
Right.
something I did was kind of started training me like, well, okay, Jake, you're doing this. So try to, tune what you're saying, enunciate things. And so these were some of the things I was doing. And then as I ended up becoming an author, which is a byproduct of me living my love, that's
Mhm.
what led me to Substack to expand and continue writing and sharing things that weren't just that initial book that I wrote. I was able to
Right.
kind of let loose a little bit and say, hey, I
Mhm.
have some other things because I write every day, start putting this there. And that's
Yeah.
that's what brought me to Substack, following those nudges.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the same path I took to Substack. I just wanted, to get my writing out there. I don't have a published book yet, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, but you should
But
share
yeah.
what you've taught or told me. You're a screenplay writer, and wow, that would be a great story to hear at some point.
Uh, yeah, yeah. I trekked the screenwriting world for a while. I've had some successes, no major successes, nothing that ever made it to the big screen. But yeah, that was quite an experience, and it ended up being something that I didn't want to do anymore for reasons I won't go into. But it did bring me along a path to where I got back into my photography during COVID, and that sparked another way to tell stories and another way for me to bridge my writing through the image. So I kind of combined those two after being told that I wasn't a writer by certain spiritual gurus. And I had to find that in myself. It's what the live your love message really is. The card that said live your love, that was the confirmation with all your being, heart, mind, body, and soul. Don't hide your most precious gift from yourself. So that word yourself means do it for you. Don't worry about what everyone else is saying, whatever, how people are treating you. Don't let those little shadows detour you from your path. So when you're living your love, you're doing it for you because that's a part of self love. And that is so important when you are trekking through the world. That's to me, that's the only way you find happiness is by doing what you love to do for yourself, not for others.
Yeah, lighten yourself
So,
up. Not out there to definitely cause confusion,
mhm.
disempowerment. It's a
Yeah,
big energy out there. Fear,
yeah,
anxiety, worry.
yeah.
So breaking free of that and getting through that. And one of the beautiful ways of doing that is lighting your body up, lighting
Mhm.
yourself up, having that
Yeah.
feeling of fulfillment and
Mhm.
being lit up. Then you're
Yeah.
going into stores, whoever you're interacting with, it's noticeable. People notice that. I mean, you notice that. Everyone else does too. When you're somewhere,
Mm.
you see those people that are out there all lit up,
Yeah.
bubbly around, all
Yeah.
shining.
That's me.
Yeah.
I used to have a fear of going into public places because I
Mm,
would feel the energies of people,
yeah.
and I got to where the point where you just give them a smile. Well, giving them a smile kind of sometimes irritates them more. So I just started, now before I go in, say like Walmart, I just start saying a prayer. And then if I see somebody and I can feel that negative energy on them, I just pray silently as I walk past them. And it makes it easier for me, but I know I'm hoping that it hits them somewhere that can uplift them. So that makes
Yeah,
sense.
walking around like a Jedi out there, sending out the force everywhere you go. Yeah, and you say
So
Walmart, and then there's another aspect for listeners. I've been all over the world, so right now I'm in Europe. So having a different perspective on many different things, stores is one of them. And when you say Walmart, it reminds me of the U.S. because the U.S. is primarily where Walmart is. I've never seen a
yeah,
Walmart here in Europe. Well, here they have the
that's a good thing.
jumbo. They
Oh,
call
the
it the
jumbo.
jumbo, and it's got like an elephant. And anyone around here, at least in
Yeah.
Switzerland here, but I have seen some of them stores in other places. England has the what is it called? The Do It? No, that's the jumbo, and then the UK has. It's slipping my mind right now. It's slipping my mind, but that's
It's
very
comparable to our Walmart.
yeah. That goes into another whole topic with the
I know.
monopoly and the
Yeah.
small business, large business, all of that.
Yeah. I like supporting the wherever I am, the local
Mhm.
farmers and going to the farmers markets rather than going to the big box stores. I
Right.
mean, that's just it's create being a part of the community.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
here, that's another cool aspect here. Switzerland still has many, many family farms, and
Hmm.
in many cases, usually in each village, you can go to the farm and they'll have a room with some of the things that they have that they can offer. And you can also
Hmm.
get like raw milk. You can get fresh made apple
Hmm.
juice. So there's these, you're not going to get everything there, but it's very easy to stop in and
Hmm.
be with that local village farmer
Right.
and support them. And plus, you're getting real food. I mean, that's something
Yeah,
that's a
exactly.
huge topic in the
Yeah.
US right now, too. Yeah, the regenerative farming, that is huge. I'm a
Yeah.
big advocate of that. And
Yeah.
glyphosate free farming, yeah, I've done a lot of research into that glyphosate and it destroys the soil
Yeah.
microbiology. It also makes the soil then dependent on
Hmm.
it, and any seed that grows under it has to be a genetically altered seed. So you're losing the
Yeah.
whole ability to be
Hmm.
kind of a organic human and grow organic seeds. And
Right.
so it's very, very something I'm really, really an advocate for is the
Yeah.
regenerative farming to kind of get back to some of these things that
Hmm.
are are sustainable and are chemical free.
And that just adds to the whole being when you're eating whole foods.
Right.
Yeah, real whole foods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Humanity, energy, having that
Yeah.
spark, having that connection.
Hmm.
All those chemicals
Yeah.
affect the nervous system too. Man, it's everything's like so interconnected, and it's such an interesting time we live in right now.
Yeah.
When you start to go into these rabbit holes and see things, it can easily create that sense of dystopia or a perspective of dystopia and kind
Hmm.
of a helplessness thing. But there's too many of us awake. And I think that's a part of this that
Yeah.
uh, isn't always, we're not always led to believe that. Throw in algorithms in and
Hmm.
look at the messaging that's out there. What is trending most of the time is somewhat dictated by an algorithm that says, okay, let's push this thing. And it doesn't
Hmm.
necessarily mean that that is the big thing going on. Because
Right.
like you, I'm a, very person that's present. So wherever I am and being a nomad, traveling all over, I come across many different people, different ages, different genders, different
Hmm.
languages, different countries. But what I come across is there are way more people aware of these other things happening and are choosing to support their local farmer. They
Hmm.
want the organic food. They want clean water. they see all this and are
Mhm.
seeing this is all backwards. So I think something that's just going to continue to build
Yeah,
momentum
I
as
think so.
time continues.
Mhm.
Things are what we work with too,
Yeah.
both of us in our own ways. And it's
Yeah.
always so great to find other empowered people. And
Yeah.
this comes back to live your love. I
Yeah.
think there's that part of that transition that when you do begin to live your love, however that looks for you, you're pursuing your probably likely a creative
Mhm.
passion of some sort, and it might not fit into the system that says, okay, you got to go to work at 9 until 5, and you got
Mhm.
to work this many hours and do that and work until you're old and
Mhm.
then retired, and then you can do your creative stuff. But when you start to do some of
Yeah.
those things consciously, especially what I've
Yeah.
experienced and many others I've talked with, is you then start to see some of the things in your
Mhm.
everyday life that are happening now, and you
Right.
start to see some of the structure, some of the systems, even
Mhm.
some of the rules or regulations or whatever that almost inhibit you from wanting to pursue that creative
Mhm.
endeavor. But when
Yeah.
you do start to smash through that, you start to dissolve those things and you
Mhm.
do find your way. It gets much
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah, but don't you think though too that there is an artistry to professions? I mean, there's
Of course
someone,
there is.
yeah, that's great at the being the best attorney and makes that their passion, or being the firefighter who saves lives every day. You know,
100% I agree
yeah,
with that.
there's a
We need that. That's part
yeah,
of society. But there's many
mhm,
people that might be doing something they don't want to be doing. But there
exactly.
are
Like,
definitely people.
yeah, it's
Because
not that I don't want
yep,
to be doing it. I not, won't say that I don't enjoy my day job, because I do. I enjoy the people that I work with. It gets stressful, but I think the stress part is the most of it, because I have this creative idea that I want to go do, but I'm boxed in to this, basically 9 to 5. But I have the freedom to set my own hours because I do work from home, and I'm not tied into a real hourly wage. But I get so bogged down because, but I do have deadlines to meet. So if I'm behind, just like I told you the other day, I had to step in and take on my coworker's workload because she had an emergency, and it set me back some. So it's like riding that bicycle as fast as I can, get that work done so I can go out and take some photos or sit down and draw or sit down and write. So there's
yeah,
a stress to that. And well, yeah, it'd be great to step away from that. But for right now, it pays my bills.
right. Well, there's
So
balance, there's
yeah,
routine, and there is structure is needed. The world wouldn't function if there wasn't a degree of
right.
structure. I had an idea the other day, and the idea was, what if everybody had 1 month a year, and you didn't have to maybe use it all at once, but you could, but you had 1 month a year where you could go do whatever you want, travel wherever you wanted, and you'd get like a special card that said, okay, you're on holiday, so everything's paid. And you can actually then go experience and see other cultures.
Uh,
And like the idea stemmed from that was part of something that prompted me to change my life was, man, I want to see this beautiful planet. I want to see these beautiful cultures.
right.
And there's so many aspects, the financial part of that, trying to organize time off. And
Right.
at the job I was in a prominent position, so
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I was able to start to do that, but there was that curiosity that overwhelmed me, and I wanted to
Mhm.
start quenching that because I began to get older and start to
Mhm.
see the direction of some things in the world,
Right.
because this was all before COVID happened. But
Mm.
COVID happens, and then all the travel restrictions. I'm like, oh my God, what if I can never do this? So there was this part of me that had this thought of, if you had 1 month a year, even if you took 4 separate 1 week trips somewhere every year,
Mhm.
that could quench that curiosity of many people. They would also get to
Yeah.
learn other cultures, see things,
Mm.
and kind of subside some of that.
Yeah.
Have them have We would have a sense of real freedom and real
Exactly. Yeah.
exploration of this
Yeah.
beautiful planet.
And seeing people through your own eyes and not what the media is telling us.
Yes, that was another layer. Thanks. I'm glad you picked up on that because
Yeah.
I get a little scattered in some of my thoughts and I'm
Yeah.
trying to express them sometimes. But yes,
Hmm.
that alone, where being an American, I grew up in America, and there's the Middle East has been a hot topic for decades and
Right.
decades. And when I got to explore some of the world, I got to meet many people from that region, like talk to the people. And I
Hmm.
did learn some Arabic and I did learn some Greek. So to be able to communicate with them and then realize, wait a minute, we're basically very, very, very similar, except we're just in
Hmm.
different parts of the world. And I
Right.
discovered it's not how it was presented for me to
Hmm.
believe it was. So right to
Exactly.
your point there.
Yeah. There's so much conditioning, and that's part of living your love is breaking through that conditioning and
Yeah.
finding out who you really are,
Yeah.
not who you were told you to be.
Yeah. The self discovery. And then you get to
Yeah.
discover things in the world.
Yeah. I traveled so much as a child because my dad's job took him from place to place. And even though it was just across the US, there's still you see that diversity in different
Sure.
places.
Well, and the country, the US is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always known it was big, but
Yeah.
when you look at maps, like the US is what it is, and then if you maybe look at Europe, it looks all huge, but it's really not
Hmm.
that big, at least Western Europe.
Right.
And so it gave me an appreciation also from where I have come from in a
Hmm.
different perspective,
Right.
because as you mentioned, maybe if you never have been to Europe, fine, but you've been all over the US and
Hmm.
you're right on point there with the diversity in the country alone with the English language. I've been
Hmm.
introduced to many different languages now, so communication is another level of appreciation I have in any culture. But the fact to just communicate with people, the very different uses of English just in the country of the
Hmm.
US
Yeah.
alone. You got the Southern and all
Yeah.
the different kind of dialects that come through that. And then you
Hmm.
got over there in Boston and New York, and then you got Minnesota. I kind of have a
Right.
Yooper
Yeah.
accent a little bit. And then there's another whole one near California and everything in between.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Such a diverse.
Yeah. I think I spoke all those dialects
Yeah.
at one time.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Because you kind of get absorbed into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a really strong Southern drawl when I moved to Arizona, and they called me Moonshine.
Moonshine.
And my grandfather grew up in the hills of Kentucky.
Mm.
He used to run moonshine when he was
Yeah.
5, 6 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had
Bootleggers
quite
and
the
stuff.
life. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You bring up moonshine too. Now,
yeah,
I had an interesting story. I met a man from Canada and he was telling me a story. This was something I never ever knew about or even thought about, but he
yeah.
compared to something he did when he was a young child in Canada, the family farm.
Hmm.
And, moonshine was, they were running alcohol because it was prohibition. Now,
Yeah.
he compared what he was doing as a child as being a bootlegger, but guess what?
Hmm.
It wasn't alcohol, it was raw milk. And when he told me this story of how
Yeah.
on demand that was, and then
Hmm.
fast forward to now where people are starting to go, wait a minute, there's nothing wrong with raw milk, and then a whole
Hmm.
pasteurizing and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole. But when he told me the story, it really just woke me up. And when he compared it to moonshine and bootlegging, he did tell me some stories. He had some restaurants where he'd bring it to, and they needed it. If they didn't have it there, some of these people would be coming to the farm and say, "Hey, we need our stuff." And then on the
Yeah.
other end of it, if they were delivering and they weren't getting paid, it
Hmm.
was like, wow, I never thought
Yeah.
that
But raw
level
milk
of
would be.
burden would be
Yeah.
happening with raw milk.
Yeah. That's an awesome story. You should need to write a story about that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Vaughn was his name. God rest his soul. I met him in my many, 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 many
Yeah.
different travels, and that I think that's I'll bring that up here with
Yeah.
living your love, and maybe if it's not always traveling for everybody, but
Hmm.
when you start to immerse yourself in whatever your passion is, you come across people, and I think there becomes a different kind of a connection, and a different kind of space is held, and different kinds of conversations come up because you're
Mhm.
engaged with
Right.
each other. You're not distracted just trying to,
Mhm.
do some robotic thing.
Right.
You're immersed in it. And then
Mhm.
having these kinds of connections with people,
Yeah.
stories like that pop up out of nowhere, and
Yeah.
really, really get to learn things you never even were.
Oh, I know, I know. I used to be, very shy and backward, still am, a little bit. My mother can talk to anybody, but yeah, I've gotten to where I can sit down and talk to somebody, a stranger more. I think that comes with age, maybe. I don't know, but, through traveling, it's always good to sit down and talk to someone that you've never met before.
Little bit of discernment when you're, I don't know, somewhat comfortable with your life, and
Mhm.
especially living your love, you start to
Mhm.
get to know yourself, and
Yeah.
then these other interactions happen, and you energetically, you're a feeler, so hold on here, what's going on? But then there's also the
Yeah.
times where, oh no, there's something
Yeah.
special
Yeah.
about this individual. I want to, well, let's hear what we have to say.
Yeah.
Maybe you're wearing a crystal or something, or I don't know, you might just notice
Yeah.
something on them. And, oh, wow. And then you pick that
Um,
up and say, hey, hello, I noticed that you're wearing this thing.
yeah.
Oh, wow. And then next thing you
Yeah.
know, you're into another layer.
I I meet a lot of people at the laundromat because I live in a camper. We don't have a washer and dryer hookup, so I spend a lot of time at the laundromat and
Yeah.
get to know a lot of people there. And it's like kind of a portal for me to kind of a
No,
little
it is
portal.
100%.
Yeah.
During my travels, I know the laundromat, and I actually
Mhm.
have some stuff I've written in the laundromat
Yeah.
because the laundromat is a special place. I don't care what
Yeah.
anybody says. Maybe you don't like them, but it is
Mhm.
a special place.
It is.
Generally, you come across some pretty cool people, and
Mhm.
just the whole process of that. The
Yeah.
whole process of it. I mean, I find it
Mhm.
fascinating. These are some of the little things I write about that, I don't have
Yeah.
it shared out there in any way, but at some
Yeah.
point, maybe it gets put into something just because
Mhm.
people that have been in there, it's like an instant connection. They know, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
laundromat. That's right. You get your quarters. It
Yeah.
has that smell. There's the sound of what it is because everybody's
Mhm.
there's a machine going everywhere. And
Yeah. These are the kinds of stories that we want to bring to everybody. Get to the heart of people who are actually living their love, but are on that course. Why they do what they do, how they got there. What are their belief systems? Do they have a morning routine?
yeah, this is a great segment to definitely bring up as a question as well, to find out what was life like for you before and after, what happened during, the whole transition.
Yeah.
uh, Part of why I did started, I've become a nomad
Mhm.
to step away from the systems.
Yeah.
I think many people can resonate with that. It's not always
Mhm.
easy doing that,
No.
but the liberation that comes from that, and also the
Mhm.
amount of control that you discover that is in place that I never ordinarily saw. A phone number, believe it or not, is with a SIM card and a cell phone.
Mhm.
Nowadays, that is tied to likely maybe your email. I use Google. So my Google email is tied to so many different things
Right.
that, in a way, I think it is impossible at this moment in time to like completely leave the system.
Right.
And then with the implementation of this attempt and idea of getting rid of cash, I mean,
Mhm.
it's becoming a different world than what we
Yeah.
grew up with. But change is
Yeah.
inevitable. But there still are ways to opt out. And that's what prompted me because I wanted to
Mhm.
travel. I
Yeah.
wanted to discover things and explore. I've always had that curiosity in me. And after my son grew up and became an adult, was able to start to ask things like, well, what do I want to do with my life? And that was a big one. And I realized
Mhm.
I had to just do it. So it's been a very long transition period, but man, have I overcome so many things that when I look back as to when I started and compare
Mhm.
that to now, I never even could fathom where I am now and that I would be doing it. And when I look back, I remember how some of these things I've gone through, I never thought I could accomplish it. So it's
Yeah.
been this creative eruption, a continual transition period, and the cycles of life, coming
Mhm.
and going and through the threshold, and you get through one door and then there's another one. All right, what's next? And it's just this constant evolution. And through all that, I've been able to be all over different countries. And like a cell phone, I brought up a phone number for a reason, and I'm kind of scattered when I talk, but I usually come back. So a phone number and a SIM card is related to a region. So when you go from one region to another, like the US to Europe, usually if you have a cell provider, you'll get some coverage if you're there for a short period. But if you stay for a longer period of time, you're not covered. So then you get a different SIM card, and depending what device you have, then that alters what phone number you have. And then that can be tied to your bank account if you're using online banking. So, or even a credit union. So all these little things are interconnected that I came across the hard way. There was I could tell another story. We were in another country, and then all of a sudden I couldn't access my funds. So that really, really, really prompted me really fast to have to figure out online banking, because at that time I hadn't been doing that. And my card got turned off, and
I very rarely use cash anymore.
Right. But it's still available. Yeah.
I was just told the other day, I had this wonderful conversation with the lady who owns the park here, got talking to her for over an hour, and she told me to save my pennies. Now I have a big jar of pennies. She says, hold on to them. Don't get rid of them, because they're going to be worth something someday.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's they're going to be doing away with the pennies. So
the world is definitely changing.
Yeah. Yeah, it sure is. But, all these things that we talk about really do play into who we are. And it gets us really to think about going back to how we've been conditioned through systems. I'm not really, you're more political minded than I am.
Well, I'll clarify that. It likely sounds political, but I'm for team humanity.
Yeah.
And it can get blurred because, an example, glyphosate. For me, that's huge. To me, that's a chemical weapon. They're poisoning the soil. It poisons the food. It causes cancer. It causes death. To me, humanity-wise, get rid of it. That's not a political thing to me, but it becomes political because certain people in a political affiliation are aligned similarly. So then they, you're this or that. And it's like, I'm just for team humanity. I want to see the earth clean. I want clean water. I want clean food. And I want a healthy nervous system. And it's like a barrage on every single angle these days.
Yeah. And these are the types of conversations we're going to bring to our audience too.
Yeah.
And not just interviews, but little side segments, just conversations between me and you on topics that are important.
Yeah, it's lived experience. I think that's what's going to be brought out. Some of the people I mentioned to you that I'm reaching out to, I think their lives are fascinating. And they are, in their own way, to me, like rebels, just by living their love and just by following their passion.
Right.
All of a sudden, whoa, they're very radical. And it's like, no, they're not. They're just living their life. And today's day and age, it is difficult to step into that, depending what it is. Like you said, firefighters, and we need firefighters. We need to do a lot of these things because there's a lot of humans out there. And in any society, in any community, something can start on fire. You want to have some people that know how to deal with that.
And we need the gardeners. We need the
horticulture,
the artists. We need the mom and pop restaurant owners. And those are the stories that I'm so interested in.
Recipes, food.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I got to write something down here.
You should always have a notebook and pen by your side, Jake.
I do. It's over here.
I keep a journal with me everywhere I go.
That's cool. What you mentioned to me, just some of the different skills, like a crane operator. That's heights. These are things that are needed, to put things together.
Yeah, that's what my better half does, by the way.
Yeah.
Everyone.
That's why I brought it up. I just didn't impose any.
I think the highest he's been was out in Vegas, like 700 feet or more.
Yeah, no, that's enough.
I couldn't do it.
I've been 100 feet or less. Yeah.
Well, thankfully he didn't have to climb that. He'd climb a little way and then be able to take an elevator up on
Yeah.
those. But he was in the crane in New Orleans when the Hard Rock collapsed. He was in
Yeah.
it.
I didn't even hear about or
Yeah,
even know about that.
yeah.
He was working in a crane.
And the building collapsed. Yeah. He lost some coworkers, and it was a very traumatic.
I would say.
And I had a premonition about that. Yeah, like
Yeah. Wow.
maybe 7 years prior to that happening that I won't go into. But when I told him about it, he goes, did the crane fall? And I said, I don't know. He goes, then I was okay. And then this happened. The crane didn't fall and he was okay. But yeah, he had to climb down through rubble and he actually helped dig some people out. Yeah.
Wow.
He has quite the story too. He doesn't realize it, but yeah, being in the Marine Corps and all the places he's been.
Yeah, you say that one of the guys I worked with on that crane or on that aerial lift,
Hmm.
he was also a Marine vet, and he told me some
Yeah.
stories. That was some intense stuff.
Yeah. So I think we can go ahead and wrap this one up.
No, this was fun to just free flow, see
Yeah.
what the heck came out.
Yeah, exactly.
Get some kind of story, maybe
Yeah.
to have um, a loose ended target.
If you let people, this isn't just for self help. It isn't just woo. I'm a little bit
Yeah.
woo, but it's not all about that. It's about exploring what it really means to live with intention and how to
Yeah.
overcome hurdles and listen to that inner guidance to grow alongside others who do the same.
Yeah.
It's a living conversation about what it means to become who we are meant to be.
Yeah.
Stories about real people and their courage to evolve because we're always evolving, no matter if we met a certain goal, there's always going to be another goal on
Yeah.
top of that that fuels that passion inside of us. So if this resonates with you, please hit the like and subscribe. And if you feel led to join the conversation, please leave a comment. We also want to invite you to join us over on Substack. And that's where this podcast and the publication side of Live Your Love will come together. We plan to launch the first week of May or sooner. We are working on a great lineup, starting with the man himself, Jake Brochard. Did I say that right? Brochard?
Orchard, like an apple orchard.
Orchard. Yeah. See, I should have known that. He's not first because I couldn't find anyone else, just so you know.
I'm humbled for that. I've seen
Yeah.
your lineup, and
Yeah.
you really, really humble me. Thank you.
But Jake has always been someone I've wanted to be one of my first interviews. And through our conversations, his involvement in the project evolved into something more. And I'm excited for you to learn more about this guy. And then followed by filmmaker, writer, actress Rachel Noel James. And I'm very excited about Rachel and have you learn about her path and how she lives her love now and how she is helping other women filmmakers. So thank you so much for being here. Until next time, I'm Chera.
And I'm Jake.
And we're reminding you to go where your heart leads and live your love.